this episode, we determine whether a VW Golf GTI is a good used buy for a 21-year-old.
We examine the Toyota RAV4 with excessive fuel consumption.
And Ford Ranger bakkie models come under the spotlight.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week we try to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling, or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za and containing as much information as possible, as well as a nice picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues are Leon Loyson from Mahindra Johannesburg South and new to Buyer's Guide, Gift Makoti from Gifted Media. Welcome, gentlemen. Special welcome to you, Gift.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for
Nice
taking
to have
time out of
you,
your
yeah.
busy schedule and joining us today.
Perfect.
All right, let's get into our first question, which comes from Tabang, a 21-year-old university student who resides in Benoni. He's been given a budget of 150,000 Rand by his parents to buy a vehicle for his 21st birthday. Wow. He is considering one of the following two vehicles, a 2013 VW Golf 6 GTI or Polo GTI 2013 model. Which one would be the best buy? Also, which issues is he likely to encounter over time with these vehicles? He's also open to other suggestions. Okay, Gift, please tell me, GTI 21-year-old. Can you say the two in the same sentence?
Absolutely not. One, I want to know if this is his first car or not. Because, I mean, if it's 21, he's probably been driving for 3 years. If you get a license at
18, if you got your license.
Yeah,
at 18.
if this is his first car, definitely not. Second car, I could make an exception depending on some of the history he's had. But I wouldn't mention a 21-year-old and a GTI in the same sentence. No, still too soon. Also, insurance might be a bit expensive for him. He runs quite a huge risk on that. And I've been in a Golf 6 GTI when I was 23, and I can tell you it was a bad decision. I had about 100 Ks on the clock when I got it. After about 10,000 Ks, like typical issues, water pump, this, that, and the other, cylinder number 4. Luckily, the car was bought from a dealer that had like a maintenance and warranty. It was fixed. But I can tell you now, I was quite reckless during that time, having so much power under my right foot.
Like everybody who drives a GTI. They all drive like idiots.
Unless if you're with the, there are really GTI enthusiasts out there that don't want to let go. Even someone is in their 30s when they're supposed to be upgrading to like a 320D or something. They still want to keep one of those. But I don't think any 21-year-old should be in a GTI. If it's not your first car, there'll be a whole lot more questions to ask still.
Leon, do you agree with that?
No, 100%. I mean, you can't. It's not that 21 is the big thing, but you know the budget is one. That's a big word, budget, because your insurance is going to be 2,500 Rand a month.
Yeah.
So people don't conceptualize that. Then it's 2013, so it's an 11-year-old car.
Yeah.
You know the heart wants what the heart wants, but a 21-year-old, 18-year-old, even a 25-year-old with a GTI Golf, like Gift said, you know, is it your first car? The person might have grown up in go-karts and racing all life, but it's not the point.
Yep.
It's the maintenance and it's the insurance. The insurance is the big thing. The budget word is the massive thing.
Yeah.
You're probably going to look at about 2,500 Rand a month just on your insurance. So I would, and he says he's open to suggestions, and he's going to vomit when I tell him the suggestions. But I mean, I'd much rather go for a second-hand Suzuki Swift, or you know, something in that kind of something that's totally mundane. But he wants something that's turbo-driven, 147 kilowatts or whatever it is. He wants that.
He did say he'd like to upgrade it as well. So he wants to
he wants to toy with it.
He wants to tune it and all that. Sure. The problem with that is that, you know, he needs 150,000 Rand to buy the vehicle. And I looked online, you will find a few there. They're all over like 150,000 Ks. So they've all been pulled through their ring.
Exactly.
They're all already falling apart. Now, if you go and buy something like that, you're going to need another 150,000 Rand over the next couple of years just to keep it going.
Sure.
I don't think a couple of years. I think the next months of owning.
I mean, next couple of months. So we would all say no, stay away from it, because they are inherently unreliable and they're very expensive to maintain. So other options, I had a look at a couple of things. And like you, for 150 grand, you don't get anything, wow. And I know this kid wants something, wow, I want a GTI and impress my friends.
Yeah.
But he'll be walking more than driving it, because it'll be parked all the time trying to fix the damn thing. So rather, if you're a VW fan, Polo Vivo. It's a great little car. You get the 1.6. It's got a bit more VUMA.
Yeah.
It'll be very reliable. Won't have the problems that the GTI has. Ford Fiesta.
Yeah.
Vivo. These are all small little funky hatchbacks that are reliable, cheap to run, light on fuel, and he'll drive it every day, as opposed to like oh my gosh, I have
Getting
to
it
go
in a
and fix it
workshop.
again. And every time I fix it, it's 20,000 Rand.
Yeah.
You can take those cars and you can put some nice mags on them. You can put a body kit on it if you like. You can
Absolutely.
put some sound system in it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the mechanics of it is what costs you money. And eventually, you'll be very happy with that kind of a car because your friends' GTIs and Polos are
Will be
parked all over the side of the road getting fixed all the time, and you'll still have your transport. If you had a 400,000 Rand budget, we maybe say, fine, go and buy the GTR, and you're going to get a good one. But in your budget, it's not the right advice.
And then you can just deal with the risk issues afterwards.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just now-
Viano, the owner of a Renault Clio 4 with a budget of 350,000 Rand. He's in the market for a reliable, medium-sized SUV with a keen eye on the Mazda CX-5 with less than 15,000 Ks. He's only come across 3 Mazda CX-5 options that meet his requirements. Viano expresses concern over the limited availability of CX-5s meeting his specifications and says, when something seems too good to be true, run in the opposite direction. You know, that's what he's worried about. Should he be indeed run the opposite direction? Let's start with you, Leon. Mazda CX-5, under 15,000
This doesn't
Ks.
sound right. Knee-jerk reaction. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
350,000 Rand for a CX-5, 2-litre. You get the Active, which is the base. But I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds too good to be true. So I would say, listen, term I always use, err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
You know, do your homework properly. Have a look at all the websites. You know, just do your homework because you can burn.
Again, I looked online to see what sort of pricing these CX-5s are going for. And you can buy one in your price bracket with mileages anything from 50 to 70,000 kilometers. 15,000 kilometers still too new. But on a CX-5, 60, 70,000 kilometers, it's nothing. It'll go for a lot longer than that. Gift your...
I totally agree. I mean, cars don't expire after 50,000 Ks. Yeah, so it just sounds like it's too good to be true. It just sounds like another Facebook market ad. So please, don't.
Yeah, be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you got lucky and you found the unicorn car, which is at a good, reputable dealer that you can go and view the car. But if it's one of those, well, give us a deposit for the car and we'll keep it for you because it's going to go on auction tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
It's a scam. Don't worry about those.
Big scam.
Never, ever do anything like that. Oh, the Mazda CX-5 is an excellent car and a
Yes.
very good car. Excellent car and a
Yes.
very good car to buy within your budget. And you will find an extremely good one
For
still with
350K,
warranty
yeah.
in your budget. So just take your time and look around.
Yeah, when you guys were saying run in the opposite direction, I thought you meant run from the CX-5.
Not a chance.
But you shouldn't.
The other opposite
Awesome,
direction.
awesome car. Really lovely.
After the break, we determine a suitable replacement for a long-serving Ford Fiesta.
And Ford Ranger bakkie models come under the spotlight. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Marilyn is an avid viewer of Buyer's Guide, and he's the owner of a 2011 Ford Fiesta 1.6 with 191,000 kilometers on the clock. The replacement vehicle will likely be her last car, and she hopes it will last for all the years to come. Her price range is just under 400,000 Rand, and her preferences are the Suzuki Fronx, Toyota Urban Cruiser, and the Kia Sonet. Marilyn wants to know if automatic transmissions are feasible and functional in smaller vehicles. Gift, a couple of cars there, good ones. What do you think of that?
Suzuki Fronx, crowd favorite. I've seen quite a lot of those on the road. I've driven one from Joburg to Cape Town.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the manual simply because of the 5-speed gearbox.
Yeah.
Is the versus the auto when you got the 4-speed. Marilyn, it does say here that this is probably going to be her last car. I mean, if it's someone who's doing very much short trips within Joburg or busy cities, definitely an automatic because the traffic will be insane. And I'm just also assuming this is a senior citizen.
Yeah.
So I think this is
Those
I'd be
assumptions
shocked.
get us fired, eh? I don't want to get fired because of you. Yeah.
Well, she's saying her last car. I mean,
Yeah. So the Suzuki Fronx is a great car. The other cars are the Toyota Urban Cruiser. What do you think about that? Yeah.
bulletproof
Strong.
cars, but
It is a Suzuki.
I think
Yes.
Yeah.
exactly. I'm not a fan of CVT boxes
Yeah.
personally. Shoot me down if you want, but I'm not a fan of it. And also, I don't like the AMT box that they've got with some of the Suzuki. I think the Espresso comes with it.
Yeah.
The AMT is an automatic
I just
manual
don't like
transmission.
that. I don't like that feeling, that jerk that you get, you know.
So,
But the automatic in these smaller cars, yeah. I mean,
fantastic.
I love the Fronx. I think it's a sexy car, and Suzuki as a brand is just, they're just killing it.
I think what's nice about the Fronx is there are lots of other good cars in the same segment. Like she mentioned, the Kia Sonet, great car.
Lovely car.
Toyota Urban Cruiser, great car. But the Suzuki Fronx just is really good.
just ticks the
It's packaged that it offers. So you could buy an automatic. I know people say, oh, but it's only a 4-speed gearbox. But the way the ratios work, it's perfect. And the kind of person who buys this car isn't somebody who wants to drive along the highway at 180 k's an hour.
100%.
Yeah,
They're going to be doing 120, and that's fine. It's perfect for that. Very light on fuel. Good-looking car. It's got all the features in it that you can want. It's a low-risk car in terms of its theft.
Yep.
So you can keep the car for the next 20, 30 years. So that would be, I would say.
And with the price of fuel, which is noted here, it's the most fuel economic.
Yeah,
100%.
very fuel
in the
efficient.
choices.
It's over 25 in a litre. I mean, it's
At 25 rand a litre, so she'll just need 2 liters a month.
Yeah.
To keep filling it up.
Keep filling
So
it up.
certainly, I mean, the Suzuki Fronx would say would be the way to go. But if you decided you drove the Urban Cruiser or you drove the Kia Sonet and you preferred one of those, you'd still be buying really good cars. They are all really good cars, and you've chosen some really good ones there. But the panel will also
Suzuki
go
Fronx.
Suzuki
Yep.
Fronx.
Yep.
Right, our next question is from Ashley. Ashley has a budget of 600,000 Rand and is considering purchasing a Ford Ranger bakkie. He seeks assistance in deciding between 2 options, a pre-owned 2021 Wildtrak or a new XL next-gen Ranger. Ashley intends to use the vehicle extensively for work, spending a significant amount of time on the road and undertaking long-distance trips. They plan to keep the vehicle for 3 to 4 years before trading it in. I know where I'd spend 600,000 Rand, guys, if it's a long thing. But
Okay.
you guys are our guests, so you go. And I'm saying he wants you to determine between these 2 vehicles.
The Wildtrak, the previous gen Wildtrak, and the XL.
XL. I wouldn't even go near Ford with 600K.
Personally, in this option, in between the 2 options, I'll go for the XL because one, it's got a nice boxy new shape. Might not come with the C-shaped lamps for daylight running lights, but if you throw in an extra six grand there, you get an extra steel side step. And because it's someone who spends more time on the road, it doesn't necessarily need a 3.2 liter Wildtrak.
Yeah.
It needs a car that's going to be economical for him. So I think in this case, and he doesn't intend to keep the car for too long. I mean, in 4 years' time, the car will be gone. So whether the car is bought on finance or he's buying in cash, he will still have quite a bit of value on it because it's a new gen shape. But on the previous gen Wildtrak in 4 years' time,
It'll depreciate it a lot.
100%.
Well,
Leon, what do you think?
well, look, either which one. But I mean, you can also go for the other models like the Storm Trek and the Wild-Trek, and you've got what's the other one, the Thunder.
Yes,
So there's
yes.
they all got their different little styling and
niche-
bin stop
little
here
niche
and a
market.
spoiler there.
100%.
So if you're a Ford fan, and like I said before, the hot ones for the hot ones, and you know what I mean. I like the shape of the new model. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think if it doesn't have the C-shaped daytime running lights, it defeats the object. Then I'd rather go for the top of the range of the previous gen because I like the look of the Thunder and the Storm Trek. I think they're very sexy cars. But 600K is a lot of money.
I thought we
I
brought you
think
guys
there's a
in
lot
here
of
to
other
give
cars you
good
can look at.
advice. I'd just put the guy in a Toyota Hilux.
but he wants
But
the
he
Ford
wants to
Ranger.
keep
I think
his
the
No,
Ford
he
Ranger.
wants to
Definitely.
keep his car for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much mileage a Ford Hilux has.
Ford
Hilux.
I mean,
New one.
Toyota Hilux.
Maybe Amarok Ranger.
I'll take my 600K,
Yeah.
go find myself a nice Toyota Hilux. It's bulletproof. I'm not going to have any troubles with it, except maybe. You guys know what I'm talking about, the maybe. He
Maybe,
No, but
maybe he doesn't have it for 3 to 4 years.
The Ford's also high risk, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're playing with the 2 fish in the pond that are both
Yeah,
being
but
nailed.
but it's not. The Fords are fish. The Hilux is a shark.
Shark, yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
I think
so-
with this particular viewer wanting to either the old Ranger or the new Ranger, I think the Rangers are excellent cars. I really do. I think they get a bad rep.
Yeah.
If you maintain them like they should be and look after them. I've got clients coming to me with 500,000 kilometers on those engines, which are good and reliable as long as you maintain them properly.
I just let
I hear
our
what's-
viewers to know
I hear what
what
you're
your
saying.
surname is.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about a Hilux. I do like a Hilux, but in terms of the interior finish and tech that you get in a Ranger, even the previous generation, it's leaps and bounds better than what you get inside a Hilux. And the new Ford Ranger, it's extremely comfortable. It's got lots of tech inside of it.
10
It's got
inch
lots of safety features that are really.
He doesn't
really
want a
good.
car. He wants a hard-working vehicle.
Well, then you
Used
go
for
and buy a Ranger. There's
extensively
nothing, I
hard
don't think there's anything
work.
wrong with the Ranger. I think it's
Go
really.
buy yourself a Toyota.
But for
Nothing
someone
wrong
who
with a
spends more
Toyota.
time on the road, he also needs to be comfortable
Yeah.
because it's traveling quite a lot.
And I think the thing with I would go for the new version purely because you'll get one with very low mileage on, and that means you'll have the warranty that goes with it. Where if you buy the previous generation, you may, in the life that you have it, run out of any sort of warranty. So when you also come to sell it on later on in 3 to 4 years, you now have a 2023 model as opposed to a 2022 or 2021 older one. So you're going to get your money back.
Gentlemen, with the Toyota, he doesn't have to worry about selling it on. There'll be queues of guys waiting to buy his Hilux when he wants to sell it.
If he still has it.
Same with the Ford, if he still has it.
Maybe he doesn't like the Hilux.
The risk is, look, if he only wants the Ford, well, then cool. But I agree with you, Segi, in that, you know, with
If you're looking at 600K, I'd spend it wisely rather than on a Ford.
Well, that's your opinion, and that's why he didn't ask for a Toyota, he asked for a
That's
Hilux.
why the two options are, I guess.
And you
So
guys
those
are
were the
saying
two
what you're
options.
saying is fact.
And we're saying,
That's your guys' opinion too.
Perfect.
okay, we'll be taking a short break, but when we return, we examine the Toyota RAV4 with excessive fuel consumption.
And we weigh out the pros and cons of owning an Nissan NP300. Hello and thank you for tuning in to Buyer's Guide. Yolanda is the owner of a 2019 Toyota RAV4 VX, which she purchased brand new. She noticed after service that the oil is consistently filled past the threshold. With 60,000 kilometers on the clock, she also noticed slight stalling as well as excessive fuel consumption. The vehicle was diagnosed with 2 faulty injectors, but since the car is out of warranty, she needs to pay for the repairs. Yolanda is concerned that the car's injectors are faulty at such a low mileage. Additionally, she finds it unusual that the spark plugs only need replacement at 90,000 kilometers. She seeks advice on whether to keep or sell the car considering these issues. Leon,
sell it.
Mr. Ex-Toyota.
Once you've got a problem, your first crack that you're going to take is going to be the cheapest. So I would get it sorted and sell it. I mean, you know what I mean? If you've got these issues, but I mean, she says it's consistently filled past the threshold. Did she make it known to the guys the first time she noticed it? Or has it after the 4th time she noticed it and she told the guys? You know what I mean? I'm not very technically minded, never have been. Never claimed to be, always sold new cars for 24 years, but there has to be some kind of a history that she can go back on. You know what I mean? Has she got an email which she sent these guys months before, years before, guys, I'm not happy with X and Y, and this has been a cause as to why my injectors have failed. That's
Okay, so
really
let me explain here. I can see exactly what's happened. First of all, we all know that RAV4s generally are very reliable.
Yep.
Toyotas?
Yes, very reliable.
Very reliable.
Bulletproof.
Don't get
great
trouble.
car.
We do a lot of them, and I have very few problems with them. Now, she says she's concerned, the first thing, about a 90,000 kilometers service replacement on spark plugs. That is quite normal. In the older days, when I was young, you know, we used to change spark plugs every 20,000 kilometers. Long time ago, when the Dead Sea was just critical. You know, you change spark plugs every 20,000. Nowadays, you have special spark plugs that are designed to last
100,000.
even up to 160,000 kilometers. So every 90,000 kilometers, you replace the spark plugs. That is perfectly normal, and you will see when you get the bill, and you'll look at it, and your eyes will go, why is a spark plug 250 Rand each as opposed to 20 Rand each? Well, it's because they have long life spark plugs. So that's not an issue, and it's across the board on literally every single car that you buy nowadays. In terms of your 2 injectors that failed, I can see a correlation here when she says that the oil was always overfilled and that the fuel consumption was very high.
Is there a mix?
So what's actually happening is those 2 injectors were faulty. So they were delivering excess fuel into the engine, which was going into the oil. And that's why oil level was rising, because the injectors were faulty. So now that they've actually found that problem and resolved it, I can tell you now that it's unlikely that you're going to have another problem with the car. Because it's just a one-off issue. And I can tell you that in my 40 years of working on Toyotas, I think I may have changed 2 injectors.
I changed
in
one.
40 years.
One injector.
It's a very reliable component. And that's across a lot of cars, not only Toyotas, but a lot of cars. But the Toyota is inherently reliable. I would certainly say keep the vehicle, don't sell it, because they're really good cars, and just monitor it and see, does that oil level increase again? If it does, then obviously take it back to the dealer to get it sorted out. It most probably was a problem when it was in the warranty, but the dealer never picked it up at the time, because they obviously weren't looking at those components as a problem, because the car was so low mileage. So later on, when they did fail, then they found that problem. You may have a case to go and argue with them about
Yeah,
they
so the
failed
oil
during
was
the
not-
warranty.
no.
It's worthwhile to try to see if they can help you resolve it. But in future, I would say keep the vehicle. They're good cars. Keep driving it. And it's unlikely that in the next, I don't know,
Yeah.
20 years.
But she
you're gonna have
needs
a
to
problem.
know that the oil was not filled up beyond its threshold.
Yeah.
It was the leaking injectors shooting fuel down.
Mixed, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that is the problem. So what I would certainly do is you monitor the oil on the dipstick. That car does have a dipstick. You check where the oil level is, and you keep monitoring it and see, does it go up, does it go up? If it starts to go up from where the maximum mark is, you take it back to the dealer and let them resolve the problem, because it's getting excess fuel into it, which is filling up the oil. That's where I see the problem. Okay, simple. We're going to move on now, and we're going to end off things with a question from Siav, who hails from Namibia. He owns a 2017 Nissan NP300 with 130,000 kilometers on the clock, and he's had it for the past 6 years. One issue he currently dislikes about the bakkie is that it doesn't reach speeds of, wait for it, 180 kilometers, and the maximum speed he can only get to is 160. Is this a bakkie or is this a Ferrari? He's interested in knowing the pros and cons of owning such a bakkie. Gift, 180 in a
No way.
2.5 diesel NP300.
Why are you looking for such speed in such a car?
It's got a death wish.
Yeah, clearly. I mean,
Because the safety features on that NP300, I
Not
think,
the
is zero,
greatest.
right?
he must be the guy who should be getting the GTI, not the 21-year-old. But yeah, no, there's no way. You don't need that sort of speed in that sort of a bakkie. If he wants to, is already saying it doesn't reach 180,000,
180 k's an hour.
How did he test it? Let's start there.
He
Also,
gets to 160 quite easily, he says.
geez, that clearly he frequents that 160, eh?
He's mad. I mean,
No.
the bakkie is
An
designed to
NP300.
No.
to carry
Somebody
goods.
ain't right there, eh?
It's not there to race around Nürburgring. Leon.
That's saying courses for horses.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can buy yourself something else, but don't buy a bakkie.
Maybe you should buy a Ford Ranger Wild Track V12 or something.
Storm track.
It's a V6, 3-litre V6.
Oh.
Even that, you'll struggle to get 180.
But I mean, it's
Yeah,
not. Yeah, I
290
mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, man.
No, it doesn't. Also, is the car even built to be taking such speed?
No
The
way.
engine
No.
itself.
No, the
It's
brakes.
not
I
at
think
all.
you make a very good point there. Is it built to do those speeds?
No.
No, it's absolutely not. In my opinion, that vehicle should be limited at like 140. You don't need to drive that vehicle more than
I
140.
doubt it'll get to 160.
I think
actually.
120.
Down a long hill.
Maybe down the mine shaft or something, but not.
I don't think you
terms
got to 160 now.
In terms of, besides the speed, he's talking about, are they good vehicles? The MP300 2.5 diesel is a great vehicle. It's a simple workhorse that just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Very good. I mean, it's not safe, and it's not designed to drive 160 or 180. So if you want to drive at those speeds, firstly, well, we should be saying here, you shouldn't be, because it's not safe.
Yeah.
And if you're driving those speeds in that bakkie, you should
hope
be
you
evil
got your-
Knievel, you know, really.
But I hope he's got his insurance policy sorted out for
His
his
life
family.
insurance
Life
policy.
insurance
yeah.
policy, yeah.
But they won't pay. No worries.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Gift and Leon, for joining us,
Pleasure,
for
mate.
all your helpful advice. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. Great having you here. Until next time, please buckle up and stay safe on the roads.